I was a happily married man to the love of my life. We'd been together for 10 years and I was happy with her until I found out the truth. Little did I know that my world was about to turn upside down in an instant. I still remember that day vividly. It was a hot summer day in 2010 and I was just moved to the city for a job of virginity. I was excited about the new chapter in my life, but also nervous about being in a new place where I did not know anyone. As I settle into new apartment, I started exploring the city to get to know my new home. One day, I decided to take a walk in a nearby park. The park was bustling with people playing sports, jogging and walking their dogs. I spotted a group of people playing frisbee and stopped to watch. That's when I saw her. She was standing on the sidelines watching the game with a smile on her face. She was wearing a yellow sundress that made her stand out among the crowd. I couldn't take my eyes off her. She looked so beautiful and I knew I had to talk to her. After watching the game for a few minutes, I decided to make a move and introduce myself. I walked up to her, smiled and struck up a conversation. We talked about the weather in the park. And eventually we started talking about ourselves. She was a recent graduate from a nearby university and just started working at a marketing firm. I was impressed by her intelligence and her passion for her work. We talked for a while longer and I realized that we had a lot in common. As we said our goodbyes, I asked for her phone number. I wasn't sure if she was interested in me, but I wanted to take a chance to my surprise. She gave me her number and told me to call her sometime. I walked back to my apartment with a smile on my face, feeling like I had just won the lottery. I couldn't stop thinking about her and how much I wanted to see her again. I called her a few days later and she talked on the phone for hours. We had so much to talk about and I was amazed at how easy it was to talk to her. We went on our first date. A week later, I took her to a nice restaurant in the city and we had a great time. We talked for hours about everything from our childhoods to our hopes and dreams for the future. I was smitten by her charm, her wit and her intelligence. As the night came to an end, I knew I wanted to see her again. I asked her out on a second date and she said, yes. We went out on more dates, explored the city and learned more about each other. We went to museums, concerts and outdoor festivals. We were having the time of our lives. Our relationship grew stronger every day and we started talking about the future. We knew we wanted to spend the rest of our lives together. We talked about our dreams, our goals and what we wanted out of life. We were on the same page about everything and I knew she was the one for me. But life had other plans for us. A few months into our relationship, my company announced that they were relocating me to another state. I was devastated. I didn't want to leave her, but I knew I had to take the job. We decided to try long distance, but it was tough. We missed each other constantly and the distance only made it harder. We had to get creative to keep our relationship going. We talked on the phone every day, sent each other care packages and visited each other as often as possible. We even started a long-distance book club where we would read the same book and discuss it over the phone. Over the next few years, we settled into our lives. As a married couple, we both continued to work hard in our careers, but we always made time for each other. We went on vacations, took weekend trips and explored new hobbies together. We started a tradition of going to a different state every year to try new foods and see new sights. We also faced our share of challenges. We had to deal with the loss of my wife's father who passed away after a long battle with cancer. It was a difficult time for her and I did my best to support her through it. We also struggled with fertility issues and we went through a few rounds of IVF before we were finally able to conceive. But even during the tough times, our love for each other never withered. We were always there for each other, offering support, comfort and encouragement. We never lost sight of what was important, our relationship and our commitment to each other. As the years passed, we both continued to grow and evolve. My wife started her own business and I was promoted to a leadership position at my company. We bought a house and started to think about starting a family. Then in 2020 everything changed. The COVID-19 pandemic hit and life as we knew it came to a halt. We were forced to work from home and our social lives ground to a halt. It was a challenging time, but we did our best to adapt. We started to focus on the things we could control: our relationship, our health and our home. We cooked more meals together, went on long walks in the park and started a garden in our backyard. We also made time for fun, watching movies and playing board games together. Despite the challenges of the pandemic, we still managed to celebrate our 10-year wedding anniversary in a meaningful way. We had a small socially distanced gathering with a few close friends and family members, and it was a beautiful reminder of how far we've come. Looking back at the past 10 years, I am struck by how much our relationship has grown in the world. We've been through so much together, and yet our love for each other continues to deepen and grow. I'm grateful for every moment we've shared, and I'm excited to see what the future holds. As we look ahead, we are excited to start a family and continue building our lives together. We know that there will be challenges ahead, but we are ready to face them together as a team. We have learned that love and commitment are the most important things, and we are grateful to have each other to lean on the following year. We decided to start trying out for a baby. It was a new chapter in our lives, and we were excited to start a family. But as months went by and we struggled with infertility, it became clear that it wasn't going to be as easy as we thought. We went through multiple rounds of IVF, endured heartbreak after heartbreak. We failed pregnancies and felt like we were losing hope. It was the most difficult time in our lives, but we leaned on each other for support. Finally, after 3 years of trying, we got the news we've been waiting for. My wife got pregnant. It was the happiest day of our lives, and we felt like we had overcome the biggest obstacle together. Our daughter was born the following year, and our lives changed in the best possible way. We were overjoyed to start this new chapter in our lives as parents, and our love for each other and our daughter only grew stronger over the years. We faced more challenges, but we always came out stronger. On the other side, we learned to communicate better, compromise and support each other through anything that came our way. As our daughter grew up, we watched her become a more amazing young woman with her own passions and dreams. We were proud of the person she had become and grateful for the love and joy she brought into our lives. We are grateful for the love and support for each other and our daughter. And we are excited to see what the future holds for us as a family. I never thought that my life could change so drastically. In a matter of seconds, everything was perfect, and at least I thought it was. I had a beautiful wife, a successful career and a loving family. But then it all came crashing down on me. It started when I went to the doctor for a routine checkup. I felt fine. But my doctor suggested that I get some tests done just to make sure everything was okay. I didn't think much of it and went ahead with the test. A few days later, I got a call from the doctor's office asking for me to come in for a follow-up appointment. I didn't think much of it. But when I got there, the doctor looked grave. He told me that the test had revealed a mass in my lung and that it was highly likely that it was cancer. I was stunned, my mind went blank and I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I went home and told my wife everything. She was devastated. We both cried together. She promised to be by my side through thick and thin, and I believed her. But then things started to get weird. My wife became distant and aloof, and she started spending more and more time on her phone. I didn't think much of it, but I couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off. I tried talking to her, but she brushed me off, saying that she was distressed about my health. I wanted to believe her, but I couldn't help feeling that something was wrong. One day I came home early from work and found my wife in bed with another man. I was shocked and angry, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I asked her why she did it, and she told me that she thought I was going to die. And she wanted to experience one last thing before I was gone. I was devastated. I couldn't believe that my wife would do something like this. I was angry and hurt, but I wanted to leave her right then and there. But then something happened that changed everything. My wife's doctor called me and asked me to meet in person. I was hesitant, but I agreed to meet him when I got there. He told me something that shook me to my core. He told me that my wife had a history of mental illness and that she'd been struggling with depression for years. He also told me that she had been taking medicines for it but had stopped taking it without his knowledge. He told me that her behavior was a result of her mental illness and that she needed help. He urged me not to give up on her and to help her get the help she needed. I was torn. On the other hand, I was angry and hurt. I loved my wife and wanted to help her. I decided to give her a chance. But on one condition: she had to get the help she needed. She agreed, and we started therapy together. It was a long and difficult journey, but we made it through today. Our relationship is stronger than ever, and we are both committed to supporting each other through thick and thin. Looking back, I realized that life can throw us curveballs when we least expected it. But it's how we respond to these challenges that define us. I'm grateful for the second chance I was given and the opportunity to support my wife through her struggles. After the shocking discovery of my wife's infidelity, I was in a state of disbelief. I'd always thought that our marriage was strong and we'd both committed to each other. But when I found her in bed with another man, all of that changed as I struggled to come to terms with the betrayal. I also had to grapple with the news of my potential cancer diagnosis. It was a difficult time and I felt like my life was spiraling out of control. But then I received a call from my vice doctor that changed everything. He revealed to me that my wife had a history of mental illness and that her behavior was a result of her struggles with depression. This news put everything into perspective for me. I realized that my wife wasn't a bad person, but rather someone who was struggling with her mental health. Instead of turning my back on her, I decided to support her and help her get the help she needed together. We went through therapy and we were able to rebuild our relationship. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. Today, our marriage is stronger than ever and we both committed to supporting each other through thick and thin. Looking back on this difficult time in my life, I realize that sometimes things happen that are out of our control. But it's how we respond to these challenges that define us. I'm grateful for the opportunity to have supported my wife through her struggles, and for the second chance that we are given to rebuild our relationship. I've learned that forgiveness and compassion are powerful tools that can help us overcome even the most difficult obstacles in life. And I'm grateful for the chance to have put these tools into practice and to have emerged from this experience stronger and more resilient than ever before. The experience of finding out about my wife's infidelity was one of the most painful moments of my life. The hurt and betrayed that I felt was almost too much to bear. But the news of my potential cancer diagnosis made everything even more unbearable. It was a dark time and I felt like I was alone in the world. I didn't know how to cope with everything that was happening. And I felt like I was drowning in a sea of despair. But then the call from my wife's doctor changed everything. When he revealed to me that my wife had been struggling with mental illness, I realized that it was a deeper issue at play. I realized that my wife wasn't just a cheater, but rather someone who was struggling with mental health. The realization allowed me to see my wife in a new light instead of being angry and hurt. I felt compassion for her. I knew that she needed help and I was determined to be there for her together. We went through therapy and we were able to work through our issues. It wasn't easy, but we both committed ourselves to the process and we emerged from it stronger and more resilient than ever before. Today, our marriage is stronger than ever and we both committed to supporting each other through thick and thin. We've learned that forgiveness and compassion are powerful tools that can help us overcome even the most difficult obstacles in life. Looking back on this experience, I realize that sometimes the greatest challenge in life can also be the greatest opportunity for growth. While the experience of finding out about my wife's infidelity, painful, it ultimately allowed us to confront deeper issues and emerge stronger as a couple. I'm grateful for the second chance that we were given and for the opportunity to have supported my wife through her struggles. I know that our journey together will not always be easy, but I am confident that we will be able to face